I'm Brett from the Queensland Eye Institute. I am a clinical trials coordinator here and I'll be answering some of your questions today. So a clinical trial is a structured and monitored assessment of new treatments, whether they be devices or new pharmaceuticals or drugs. So the clinical trial aims at providing information on the new treatments. So they can range from early phase trials, which are usually very small numbers of patients aimed at testing to make sure the intervention is safe in humans, right through to the later phase trials that are usually much larger in numbers, and they assess the long-term effectiveness and safety in patients. For clinical trials at Queensland Eye Institute, after a approval by an external ethics committee, patients are screened either through the clinics or from external referrals for pathology that we're looking at in particular for the trial. Once patients have been identified, they then go through an informed consent process where the testing and commitments for the trial are discussed and any questions that the patient has are answered. Once the patient has signed the informed consent form, then we're able to start with a screening. The screening usually involves all the testing we need to work out if the patient is suitable for the trial. So this is dependent on the phase of the trial. So earlier phase trials usually have a lot more testing involved because we need to know a lot more information about the patient to make sure they fit a very certain criteria. Observational trials usually don't involve quite as much testing, just because they are more wanting to see how the device or the treatment is received by people out in the real world. Once the screening has been done and the patient has met all the inclusion criteria, then they can become involved in the trial. Once a patient is included in a trial, then they continue through the trial, conducting all the testing that is required by the protocol that has been approved by the ethics committee. Once all testing has been completed and the patient has exited from the trial, all the information is compiled for analysis and for reporting. So reporting is then usually sent off for inclusion in journal articles if it provides additional information or furthers our understanding of a condition. Age requirements for being involved in trials are outlined by the protocol that is approved by the ethics committee. So different trials will usually be focused on patients of different ages. Most of the trials that Queensland Eye Institute are involved in are usually patients who are much older, as a lot of conditions that we're looking at are age-related conditions. Clinical trials enable us to increase the body of knowledge when it comes to treatments for conditions of the eye. So some of the trials that we have been involved in, we had one that was a large multinational effort which was able to inform the long-term safety and efficacy of an existing treatment that is currently being used. This allows doctors to have a lot more confidence in the use of this medication for long-term because they can be sure that it's not having adverse side effects on patients. Another trial that we were involved in actually demonstrated a lack of efficacy of a treatment that was in investigation. So this was able to be discontinued to allow the companies to then focus on other lines of treatment that may prove to be more promising. And other trials we've been involved in, we've done the preliminary work that have shown positive results, and these have now progressed onto other more specialised facilities. If you have any other questions about trials that we're conducting, please feel free to contact Queensland Eye Institute and we'll answer any other questions. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Bojana. I'm one of the clinical trial coordinators at the Queensland Eye Institute, and today I'll be answering some of your questions. We need clinical trials. Clinical trials are an important step in determining whether a new treatment is safe and effective. There is no guarantee that you may benefit by joining a clinical trial. However, if you do decide to join a clinical trial, you may be helping yourself and others in future if the investigational product becomes approved. Each clinical trial will have a specific participant information sheet which will outline all the information including the risks. We encourage patients to go through this participant information sheet with their general practitioner and family and friends. Our doctors will also go through this participant information sheet with you so you may decide if the clinical trial is right for you. To become involved in a clinical trial, please visit our website for our contact details. Our website will list all the clinical trials that we have running at the moment. Each clinical trial is condition specific and it will list the basic inclusion and exclusion criteria. If you think you may be eligible, please email us or call us directly.